The Ingkerekke Commercial Mountain Bike Enduro 2011 is proudly brought to you by the following sponsors.
Power to the pedal. Power to the pedal.
Welcome to a special episode of Power to the Pedal, where we're bringing you highlights of the ingkerekke Commercial Mountain Bike Enduro 2011. We're in Alice Springs in the dead centre of Australia. You'll find cafes, pubs, a subway, and some of the finest Indigenous art in Australia. Well, a picture can tell 1,000 words, as day one of this event started with a challenging 49-kilometre ride through some of the most scenic single-track that surrounds the town, particularly in the Kurrajong area. Day two of the ingkerekke Commercial Mountain Bike Enduro 2011 started with a 39-kilometre ride through the West Alice Springs area. More flowing and open tracks along this course made it less technical and allowed for more opportunities to take in some of the amazing sights in Alice Springs. That eventually finished up at the local velodrome. Another race on day two later in the day ended with stage 3 hill sprint up Anzac Hill in the centre of Alice Springs with a magnificent bird's eye view to greet you at the top.
Okay, so we've just had the NT Major Event Stage 4 here today. It's been a phenomenal race. We started at the Scout buildings this morning. First 25 Ks, a mixture of rough four-wheel drive track and double track in the western side of town. Then they took in probably about 25 Ks of sealed surfaces, the majority of it on a sealed bike path that winds out towards Simpsons Gap. Then it was onto some more mixed terrain, winding through the sort of back blogs of the McDonald Ranges. But really the piece de resistance of today's course was when they were riding along one of the top of the iconic ridge lines that typify the McDonald Ranges. The views from there really phenomenal. Look, honestly, you could just about see as far south as Adelaide and about as far north as Darwin from up there. And to have your bike up there as part of a race was a really unique experience, and people seem to really enjoy it. And then rounded out what was, as I said, a tough 77k ride with a circuit of the BMX track here and over the line with a smile on their face. So no, it's gone very well.
Tough work. Well, it was a long day today, obviously. Pretty tough stuff. I was going to ride on the bitumen, then we got a little bit technical and approached a bit of sand and just got a little bit too much for me and got stuck in the cleats, and down I went. A few scratches, but nothing too serious. So all good. Enjoyed my day. Just keen for a rest now.
I'm from Darwin, so it's very different from that. It's a lot more open, a lot more hill climbs, and a few sandy sections that we don't get really around Darwin too much. So yeah, great variety of riding around Alice Springs.
My name's Pete Svara, come down from Darwin. It's the sixth time I've actually been to the Red Centre Enduro. It's only the fourth time it's actually been the Red Centre Enduro. Before that it was run by a local, Jack Oldfield. and it was called the Central Australian Bike Challenge. So it's pretty much the same format, 5 days of fun racing, and just a great atmosphere and a good trail ride for the week.
Yeah, we're riding together, the whole thing, and every moment is pretty special because no kids, riding a bike for 5 days and beautiful landscapes.
Pretty amazing way to see the landscape, so you get right out there in the middle of the bush and really see it as it is. It's fantastic out there. So.
Brooke Cunningham, rider number 189, Alice Springs local.
And I'm George Landy. I'm also a local. So we've thoroughly enjoyed, riding on our own trails.
We had a good day today. We decided that we'd ride together. I was feeling a little bit average, and so George thought that she could help me out and pull me through, and it was good. It was a nice
it was
day.
fun. It was really good. It wasn't too intense, it was just enjoyable.
It was nice being at the tail end of the pack, people stop and get off and walk up hills and help each other out, and it was lovely. Oh, if you're coming out to ride in Alice, the trails are amazing. I actually moved to Alice Springs for the mountain bike trails, so if that's not a sales pitch.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the best places. One of the best things about this place is the accessibility.
So we go out on the trails around East Side that we know quite well. You probably need to find a local. Go into the local bike store and ask them, and find a local to tail onto, because you can get lost. Like, there's just a myriad of tracks out there, and find a good buddy to take you around.
And there's some good new trails on the west side, which have just they've only been built the last few years, but they're riding really well at the moment. It's got to be west side. What is it? West side.
Okay, the last 3 days I started pretty slow at about 135th after the first day. Made up a few places on Tuesday and got to about 100th, and now I had a good couple of hill climbs, so I got up to 85th today, which is very pleasing given I haven't done a great deal of training for the event, so I'm happy with where I am.
So the cycle cover stage 5 is underway with all riders heading off one rider at a time around the 23 kilometre time trial course. It's a really interesting format because it means most of the time you've got an open section of track in front of you because you set off with slowest to fastest, slowest riders off first, then fastest coming up the end, but you've got an open flowing section of track, winding around at the base of one of the spectacular ridge lines here, and 23k is not all that long, and a bit over an hour and a half, and most people are done. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, well, it's the time trial course today. It's 23 Ks. It's changed a fair bit from last year, just because a couple of the locals have been out and built some new trails, and I'd had a look at them and were pretty impressed with them, and it was a bit more single track. The last half of the time trial course last year was pretty cut up and rocky and not that good, so we thought with the new track there we could make a few changes. It's challenging, takes a lot of concentration, and it will be even tougher on the night race.
I did the Cape to Cape in October, and my friend, he was supposed to go, then he missed the Cape to Cape and he found this one, so we decided just to go, and until now it's value for money. It's very good. The trails are super nice and very, very different from what we're used to ride in Singapore. In Singapore we mostly get muddy trails, and rainforest is a bit dusty and dry, so quite interesting, yeah.
So far this week's been fairly tough, really close racing. I think most stages has been only 5 seconds between first and third place. Today being a little bit different, I think I finished over a minute behind the other boys, but that was always going to be the case because it's such a short and punchy track. I think times around 56, 57 minutes is a little bit too quick for me. Yeah, so I think I look forward to the longer stages where I'd probably have a better chance of being able to stay with the boys and maybe put some time into them. Yesterday's stage was the longest stage, but it ended up being a sub 3 hour race, so still fairly close to the Olympic distance races. I think last year we had, I think the shortest stage was closer to 4 hours or 4.5 hours, so that's sort of the distance I think we need for me to be competitive. Yeah, so it seems to be a lot of variety in the tracks out here. So some sections are fairly technical, very sandy, so you have to be quite careful around most of the corners. There's just rocks all over the place hiding in the grass, so you really need to be careful not to go off the trail, so make sure you're staying right on that track. And a lot of the corners are quite blind because of the bush and the shrub on the side of the track, so yeah, you can't ride flat out either.
Well, as the day warmed up, the remaining riders on course enjoyed the spectacular views and all the single track you could possibly take in. Simply a great way to end the day in the Red Centre.